she's not the only grandmother who has been saying this. Not all grandparents think it's okay to use them as child care providers. In fact, this grandmother, she clearly says she's tired of it. We have a video of it. Check it out.
Grandparents, but because I became a grandparent, does not automatically make me the babysitter or a daycare. Grandparents, true grandparents, they're supposed to raise their children right to where when y'all start having kids, y'all can financially provide for your own children and secure their daycare so you can go to work, so you can go out, so you can do anything else.
Say that.
She was very honest. So what are your thoughts on what this grandma has to say?
I love grandmas.
Me too.
Especially that one, though. Especially her.
Because they're always honest.
Secure that grandma. I am so with you, man.
That grandma.
Secure you, grandma. I stand for you all day. Because here's one thing that really annoyed me when I was like, you know, when you turn 30, all of a sudden everybody pressures you to have kids. And I get it, they're excited. But the number one thing I would hear if I was like, you know, I live a busy life, I kind of know what my lifestyle is, and they'd say, Mama, I will take care of your kids. Like, you got parents. Yo, it's so wrong to all of a sudden, like, authorize or ordain somebody to be your babysitters when they didn't ask it. And I also hear parents, and I think this is weird, Tam, parents sometimes when I say, what is the reason why you would like to have children? And they say, because you want somebody to take care of you when you get old. And I think that's the most selfish reason to have children.
It is.
You have children because
you can't guarantee that.
You want to bestow your lessons into them. You want to raise better people in our society today through your children, but not because you want somebody to take care of you when you get older. So I stand with you.
Raising my dad, raising us, and everything else.
I wasn't content with what I needed. I wasn't honest with myself, with what I needed in order to find me and be true to who I am. So when you're in a relationship, sometimes you really get caught up with making it work. And that becomes a full-time job. Yeah. And what happens is you get pushed to the side and you forget that you got to be the shining light inside of your relationship. Yes. So when you break away from that, then you can work on yourself and go through a nice little journey and learn who you are.
I know, they look great. No. Wait, you guys, I know.
Yes. So, are you guys ready for girl chat?
Yeah!
I felt that. Well, let's face it. When you meet someone for the first time, you can't help but check out their appearance, right?
Yes.
So when I meet you, I don't meet your heart, I meet your face.
Yeah.
So while different people have different interpretations of what's sexy and what's beautiful, a recent Psychology Today article asked which of the two is more important. The article says that beauty is defined as being pleasing to the sight, while sexy is defined as causing feelings of sexual excitement.
Yes.
However, they warned, all right, that you have to be careful who you call sexy, because while it can be flattering, if the person likes you, they could be offended or turned off if they're not into you like that. So ladies, do you think you'd react differently if someone called you sexy as opposed to beautiful? In a good way or a bad way? They're saying good.
Interesting.
I don't mind. I think beauty fades. So I like the term sexy because, or charming.
I agree.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, I have actually had this conversation a million times with all my girlfriends, like, what would you rather be, beautiful or sexy?
Right.
Now, we've all met somebody who's absolutely beautiful. You're like, oh, and then they open their mouth, and you're like, ooh, you're
ain't all that.
You're just something nice to look at.
Oh, you're talking about smarts.
Or just in general, have you ever just met somebody that's really beautiful, but their mannerisms are not flawed? Like, what
Who are you talking about, girl?
It's nobody knows.
For
but
me, at the end of the day, whether it comes to being beautiful or sexy, I'd rather be the best version of me. Let me tell you why.
And that's sexy, though.
Yes, and that's sexy. Because at the end of the day, when you really look at what's behind the most beautiful woman or man, or what's behind the most sexiest woman or man, it comes down to confidence, right?
Absolutely.
When you really have true confidence, and if you really want to be uniquely beautiful or sexy, then you want to be unapologetically yourself. That person right there is the one that walks in with the dopest swag, the hottest light bouncing off of them, and the person that makes an unforgettable presence, you know? So being unapologetically you is hands down the hottest.
So I always used to tell people I would rather be sexy than be beautiful, because you can be beautiful to look at, but I don't just want to be something that you see. I want to be something that you feel.
Right.
Like, I want to be...
That's sexy.
That you feel that. And like Lonnie just said, beauty fades. Like, I don't know how long this is going to stay the way it is, but... Or if
But
you even
then-
find me cute today.
but
You may
then-
not like my nose or like a specific feature, but... If you appreciate my swag, what I bring into a room, my aura.
Yes, but
that-
we've also met many very sexy
Right.
people who, after they think they're all that, they sit in there like,
No, I
and then
feel
after a
those
while,
people
you're
are
like, what else you
insecure.
got, bro? Like, what else is there besides that? They don't know
But
that.
also, I think there's an old Temptation song that says beauty's only skin deep. And I think that if you look at it in terms of inside of you, you know, are you kind to people?
Yes.
Do you take care? Are you nice? That's what I really find attractive in a person. Is I find that there's beauty within, not necessarily the physical, but inside. So for me, maybe I like beauty more than sexiness, because sexiness can go too either. You know, but I like for you to be nice. I
like the older
treat me.
people. That stays. I'm telling you.
You talking about physical?
I'm trying to think, because if I'm honest, I've never really connected with myself as sexy. Growing up, it was something that I could just, like, honestly, I never felt. I was always told, oh, you're so cute. Or they say, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And this is what made me feel really good. They would always say, you're so beautiful inside. and out.
That's what I
That
mean.
was always important for me because, you know, like you said, you can meet certain people and they're beautiful, and then the moment they talk, not how they talk, it's their spirit.
Yes.
Their spirit is ugly. And if
Right.
your spirit is ugly, you ugly. I don't care. I don't care what anybody else has to say. But at the same time, I'm turning 40, you guys, and I know, right? I'm excited, but if I'm honest, I don't know how to be sexy. I feel
disagree.
uncomfortable.
Girl,
I
you
do.
have sex with your husband?
I do, and that's the thing. I am very sexual. I think I'm very
That
sexual.
makes you
Yes,
sexy.
we know pterodactyl Tam. We know you
Yes.
know how to be sexy.
But at the same time, if you guys, come on, you know, like if they say take a sexy picture, I don't know how to do that.
Yes, you do.
Yes, she does.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yes,
disagree.
you
If that-
do.
Have you seen?
Really?
Tam has
Yes.
a mirror face. Okay, I've
That's
talked
the
about this
mirror
before.
face, but I'm talking about
But
like
that
it's
mirror
sexy.
face looks in the mirror. She is feeling herself. When Tam looks into the mirror,
It's sexy.
and she'll be like, "Oh my God, you guys, I love my kids. Adam is so
Yes,
great."
I
Put a mirror in
swear.
front of her. She's like,
Okay. Well, what makes me?
Okay, I will tell you the things that make you
"That's
sexy.
when you know you're sexy."
Honestly, but I'm not. See, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not
Your
talking about
mannerisms
this.
are sexy. The fact that
I'm
you're
talking
doing this
about
right now
Yeah.
is sexy.
That is?
The way you, the way
Oh my
you're dainty,
God.
the way that you take care of yourself, the way that you
Really?
paint your nails, the way that you are delicate with your hands when you say something, the way that when you're thinking about something, you go like this.
Really, Ed?
Yes, it's sexy.
No, but see that I think
and there's
people's
all
versions-
different kinds of
Yeah,
sexy.
I think
okay.
people's
But the
versions of
point
sexy are
is,
different. Because when I look at
has
Tam,
a crush on Adrian, has a crush on her.
Yes,
So
I
you
think
gonna
Tam's
find-
sexy.
yeah.
Girl crush number one right now.
Well, thank you, Adrian, because
Yeah.
I have a girl crush on her as well. Everyone knows that. We like each other, but
Ooh, get a room, you two.
but yeah. So okay, well, I learned a lot. So maybe it's not
sexy.
exuding. It's not like because I don't think I can do this and do this. I can't do
We
that.
didn't say ratchet, girl. We said sexy.
Okay. So it's just, and that's the thing. I am confident in who I am as an individual. I am very proud of my spirit.
Yeah.
yes.
And
Well,
that's very sexy.
Nothing
Thank
can make
you.
a woman feel more beautiful than a passionate kiss from the man she loves. However, would she feel different if he asked permission first? Think about this. A recent advice segment in The Guardian found a man wondering if, in the Me Too era of dating, he should ask his date for permission to kiss her or just go for it. The man says that he has heard rumors that women don't like to be asked for permission to be kissed because it demonstrates some kind of weakness on the part of the man if he asks. So, babes, do you think nowadays men need consent to kiss, or should they be romantic and spontaneous? Because, you know, with Me Too going on now, you never know. You don't know
But-
how you can approach a woman when it
But
comes
my
to intimacy.
thing is with the Me Too movement, if I'm not incorrect, is that it's about power for sex. You know, it's not about sex. It's about someone having power to take advantage of you, and they, you know, try to use sex. So to me, I look at that differently than if I'm going out on a date with a guy that I want to go out on a date with, and
Got
I'm
it.
consenting to go out on a date with, and something may happen. To me, that's different.
See, yes, but you can't be too safe nowadays. Like, even when a woman goes on the date, it could be the fourth date. It could be, there are women who, or men who get taken advantage of as their girlfriend or wife, husband. There are people who get raped as boyfriends or girlfriends.
There are people that get raped as husband
As
and
husband and
wife.
wife, yes.
It's real.
So, honestly, I agree. In the dating world now, I talk to my girlfriends about this. My girlfriends still want a guy to just take the bull by its horns, they say, and go in and take that moment.
It's
but then you got
romantic.
women who are like, me too, that wasn't cool. It all comes down to the lean in. It's only the lean in that'll tell you if it's cool. So I think if you're a guy, let's just say, if you're traditionally a guy and you're gonna make the move, you gotta lean in, right? Okay, so Tam, like if we're on a date, right? I'm gonna demonstrate.
Yes.
So if we're on a date and I'm like, okay, we're feeling it, we had a great dinner, you're saucy, we're hot, and we're like, okay,
Why you
let me
didn't
just
lean into me?
I know.
But you know I'm gonna kiss you. No. See, she ain't gonna
No,
kiss
but
you.
honestly, I was thinking the same thing.
No!
She
Okay, so
already-
listen. So a guy has to do this. He's got to like slowly lean in, and I think in this time, this is where it's got to go in his mind, right?
So if a
All right,
girl wants
you wouldn't
him
move.
to get, you would move
by
in
this,
closer.
I think it's like by
What if I want to do a threesome?
stage one right here. Stage one is I'm gonna try it and let me make eye contact if it's
She's
cool.
right behind you.
Stage
She's right behind you.
Oh my
She's
god.
right behind you.
What the heck is going on here? I feel so left out.
No!
know, you and Jeannie, y'all flirt with the dudes and. You guys, we're taking it too far.
We're just having
It's
a good
all in
time.
fun.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
fun.
all in fun. Are you okay?
Yes, I am.
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh,
You,
exactly.
She's a good
So wait,
sister.
this is okay. This would be my. Do I still have lipstick on, Nyla?
But don't you agree? That's the only time
Can't
a guy
see the
can really
tissue.
tell,
Yes,
or a woman
thank
can
Wait,
tell.
I actually know what they should do. I think
they
there is
do?
a safe way to do a combination of both.
'Kay.
To ask in a sexy, dope
You want
way.
to try with me, Adrian?
Yeah. What is happening here?
I would
Yes.
love this. Yeah.
Yes. Wait, but seriously, Israel did this to me.
Okay.
It was like a sexy way, but at the same time, he wanted to know like it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if a guy is with you,
I
this
won't kiss
to-
you. You could just
Okay, this
demonstrate.
to me is sexy.
Okay.
Like if y'all are talking or whatever's happening, you're about to leave, and you're like, man, I really want to kiss you so bad right now. Like
Yes,
that.
it's
and
like
then,
a loaded question.
Yes.
Yes.
That's so like if somebody's like, man, I just
Oh, it's like a joke
look,
on
if
the
you're
square.
you're like, I just want to kiss you so bad right now. And then as a girl, you like, word? And then you go in, and then it works. But and technically, he did ask permission,
Yeah,
but
you're
it's
right.
not like, can I kiss you?
Oh, yeah, sign
That's
on the
weird.
dotted line.
It's like,
Yeah.
man.
So just find a creative way of saying it.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a sexy way to ask
I don't know.
someone.
I still like the
Or you
lean
could even
in.
say, what would you do right now if I just kissed you?
Oh,
Ooh,
see,
yeah.
that's awesome.
And then you gotta say,
I would be like,
try and find out, boo.
yeah. There's a sexy way.
That's
and
good.
I
I
honestly
like
would
that.
say go for that because it's better to be safe than sorry. That's just where I'm at
True.
right now. I would much rather there's a sexy way to do it. What would you do if I leaned in and kissed you right now? Man, I want to kiss you so
Yeah,
bad right
because
now.
sometimes, yeah, I mean, you are right. You guys are right. Sometimes you do get miscues and you
Yeah.
thinking that
Yeah.
you want to be kissed and you don't. You just be like, no.
Yeah.
Better to
right.
be safe than sorry.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Smart. All right.
Or
Smart.
lean in and take your time, and by the time you get to her lips, if she hasn't reached for her mace, you good.
Okay.
Well, from navigating dating to navigating friendship, making new friends as an adult can be challenging, especially when you're always coupled up with your boo. But don't worry, you're not alone.
Lipstick
Madame
on
Noir
you.
recently listed their quote, challenges every couple faces trying to make couple friends. And they're super relatable. Some of the changes include making sure there's equal chemistry in the entire group,
Okay.
making sure everyone's schedule syncs up for get-togethers, and making sure there are no significant age gaps in the group.
Ooh, that's
I
a weird
love that
one.
one. But I
Wait.
mean, right?
That's weird.
That's interesting.
I like meeting with people in different age groups because I
Me
want to
too.
learn what the other, what they're talking about at 50, 60, or 20.
And some people act younger and some people act older.
Yeah.
So that one's a little weird, but I actually agree with the rest of it. And Iz and I have a couple that we love to hang out with and vacation with, which I think is super important, which
Yeah.
is my sister and her husband, Jert. Shout out to
Oh,
you guys.
I
We
love
love you
them.
guys.
We
Awesome.
love
They are our
Talk
favorite
about it.
couple ever. And I think what makes them so fun is, one, me and my sister already were close, naturally. But actually, Jerd and Israel became friends way before me and Israel ever started dating. When Iz and I
no
were just
way.
friends. Yeah, Jerd and Israel got super tight. Jerd's a lawyer, and they connected on business stuff. So they have their
wow.
own relationship on their own that they had way before us.
good.
Yeah, and then me and my sister get to hang out. Also, we have the same birthdays. Like, me and my sister are 2 weeks apart. We're both October babies.
Yeah.
I'm like into this. I think it's interesting. And Jerd and Israel are 5 days apart. They're both May
Oh, my God.
But that's your
So, but-
sister. What do you and Adam
No,
do?
Adam and I actually we have it well because in the beginning when Adam and I were dating, I really like Adam's friends.
Yeah.
They've become my friends.
Yeah.
And I think there's only one guy where I'm like, I actually like his girlfriend more than him.
Isn't that, doesn't
it's
that
crazy.
suck when you like
I
one,
know.
but the other one's like,
ready. Okay.
Yes.
First up, you know, we like to think of ourselves at this table as good law-abiding citizens.
Oh, yes.
But did you know that depending on where you go, you could be breaking the law and not even know it? For example,
that recently asked its followers how many people are on their block list. If you know me, that's a lot of people.
oh my God.
The post has been seen almost 800,000 times. So this leads me to believe that a lot of us are sick and tired of people coming for us. So ladies, what are your, I like to call it not just blocking, but leaving folks blocked and blessed. So what are your blocked and blessed rules?
At this point, it's such a reflex. Like, I just keep it pushing, like, literally, scroll, block your ass, scroll.
Okay.
It's like an exercise.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
don't
a good
even
muscle.
think it
Yeah.
needs a reason.
No.
I actually think it's your page.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't need to explain or have a reason. If I don't like the if I'm in the spirit and the spirit says no, I'm going to block you. I don't respond to people anymore. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I had to say something. I don't say a
when you look at it.
Yeah,
Well,
you could search
okay.
it, put the name in the thing, it does not come up.
There is a website that recently asked its followers how many people are on their block list. If you know me, that's a lot of people.
Oh, my God.
The post has been seen almost 800,000 times. So this leads me to believe that a lot of us are sick and tired. There's a website that recently asked its followers how many people are on their block list. If you know me, that's a lot of people.
Oh my God.
The post has been seen almost 800,000 times. So this leads me to believe that a lot of us are sick and tired. So ladies,
if I'm in the spirit and the spirit says no, I'm going to block you. I don't respond to you. I think back when I used to feel like I had to say something. I believe in the same word. You just realize how I came out of range.
Like this close. And it's as if you were really there. The company says the cost covers.
questions and indulging in, oh, the sweet randomness. You ready? This is Random Fandom. All right. You know how it works? Our producers have a movie that deeply, deeply disturbed you, that all these years later, it has stuck with you, and like when you even think about it, it freaks you out. Yeah, they've been traumatized out there.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you did, you guys, you are not alone. The topic is on Twitter. ever watch a movie that deeply, deeply disturbed you, that all these years later, it has stuck with you?
I'm a friend of some members of the Nation of Islam, and a lot of people talk about this idea of separation and this idea of giving Black people their own autonomous space to exist outside of whiteness, right? There's this speech that Farrakhan has talking about how it's just like basically we're incapable of coexisting. I don't know if I believe that, and I don't know if Malcolm would necessarily believe that now, given the frame. I think that he would find it necessary that we led the cause, right? If we allow white people to restructure this whole thing, even if it was the kindest white person you'd ever meet, it would still be a false generosity. Paulo Freire talks about this in The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, that if you allow the oppressor to recreate the world, even if it's in favor of the oppressed, it is still virtually oppression. So what Malcolm would do was charge us to be the leaders, the educators of white people, for the ones of us that are okay with doing that. A lot of us have too much trauma. We don't feel like teaching them anymore. But the ones that are okay with doing it, I'm one of those. They need to be taught because they don't actually understand. And so I would think he would tell us to take the forefront and the leadership role to ensure that we are recreating the world rather than having another world be created by them.
You've proven my point, because I definitely asked the right person that question. 100%. It's a brilliant answer, and brilliant on many levels. I'm going to change gears just a little bit, TJ, because I want to make sure I get a chance to ask you. When I heard about this, I didn't quite know what it was. Tell me about the Juneteenth Social.
Yeah, so Juneteenth Social is a event turned nonprofit. It was born on my friend's living room floor out of a space of necessity. If you're familiar with the Midwest, you know that there are many cities where Black excellence exists, but it's also not really told that it exists. It's not something that you see, and it becomes difficult for it to exist here. So we created an organization founded on the principles of community, cocktails, and celebration. Community being this space of creating fellowship and creating a world in which, even if for a little bit, even if it only exists for 3 hours, a world in which these microaggressions are not placed on Black professionals. We create a space that allows Black professionals to mingle across industry lines and to come together in a world where they can truly simultaneously exist and be proud of their culture. Too many of us, I think, feel that when we go into the workspace that we have to put on this armor, that we have to protect ourselves, that we have to be ready for the death of 1,000 cuts of microaggressions and macroaggressions. So we wanted to challenge that and create a space that allowed us to simultaneously and to celebrate us, to celebrate each other, and to do so in a way that's honestly just a good thing.
You know what's interesting about that, Minister? I think one of the challenges that we face, and continue to have, is the notion that, when it's all said and done, our inability rather, to maintain our mental health, it's difficult to do in these times. So let me ask you this: what do we need to do to maintain our mental health in the midst of all that's going on?
So the oldest form of therapy, Dr. Sean, is talk therapy. Before, the universities decided on a degree plan that stated that you were qualified to do this work, we spoke to our elders. So it is very important that we are having robust conversation about what is happening with our children, with our family members, and actually sit down and create a dialogue, a safe place to talk about it. We make the assumption that our children kind of know what's happening, but how many people can actually say that I spoke to my children about what's going on? We had a conversation and this is how they feel. I'm teaching a class at FIU online, and I asked the students, and these are high school students that are going to matriculate into college, and I asked them, have you talked about what's going on with your parent, with anyone? And when I tell you, it's about 20 students in my class, and all of them said no. So can you imagine a high school student right now that has not had a conversation with their parent about what is happening? And if you're an aunt or an uncle and that is your charge, I am asking all family members, whoever you are, you're part of a family, make sure you sit the young people down. Make sure you sit those that may not even have an opportunity to speak to somebody. We should be having a lot more dialogue and not just watching the screen.
Wow. You know, that's a great place to take a break. Listen, everybody, I'll be right back.
Juneteenth rallies happening across the country as racial turmoil appears to be influencing Joe Biden's search for a running mate. Amy Klobuchar says she's bowing out. Take a look.
I truly believe, as I actually told the vice president last night when I called him, that I think this is a moment to put a woman of color on that ticket. If you want to heal this nation right now, my party, yes, but our nation, this is sure a hell of a way to do it.
And with Klobuchar out, Kamala Harris's odds are rising. A new poll shows Democrats favor Harris by a wide margin. But will the radical left accept her past as a prosecutor? Harris trying to spin her resume as a positive. Watch this.
I know the system from the inside out. I strongly believe if we are going to change these systems, there has to be the kind of brilliant activism that we've seen from the outside, like Black Lives Matter and the leadership there, combined with what we need to do on the inside to actually upend these systems in a way that we make change to get closer to that ideal we have of equal justice under the law.
All right, Jesse, I'm going to start with you. You know, Amy Klobuchar, I don't know if she had something in her throat or if she was just choking back tears, but she has always been extremely ambitious, has wanted to be president and certainly vice president. But when she says she's bowing out because the president should pick a VP Biden, if he's president, should pick a VP of color, do you think that's the reason she's bowing out? Could there be another reason, a vulnerability, in fact?
Yeah, that's like me saying I'm withdrawing my name for consideration to be President Trump's VP pick right now. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. I think Kamala is now the top choice, and she's got some negatives. I think she's a cheap shot artist. She doesn't really have policy chops, domestic or foreign. She was a terrible manager of her campaign, totally dysfunctional, doesn't have the executive authority needed. And, you know, Biden's running as this kind of one-term holdover. So I don't know if she's totally trustworthy. She might leak and kind of try to stab him in the back. I'm not really sure she's gonna cut it. But she also has a lot of positives. She raised a lot of money. I like her litigator style, extremely tenacious when she gets these witnesses in her crosshairs. She really just rips their throat right out. I've never seen anything like it. And that's maybe what you want as an attack dog on the VP ticket. So, you know, she's got a great background that people do like. You know, her father, Indian, or her mother, I think it was Jamaican immigrants. She married a Jewish man. People love that type of melting pot story. She looks very attractive on television. And you know my thing, Dana, the bumper sticker. Biden-Harris, it fits. That works. Nice and short.
Oh, I like it. All right, Greg, I'm going to go to you. All right, so you've got her saying, Kamala Harris, you know, because I've been a prosecutor, I know the system inside out, and I can change it. And I'm not just a prosecutor, and take it from me, we put people in jail. That's kind of what we do when they commit crimes, and we convict them beyond a reasonable doubt. But she says, I'm a progressive prosecutor. What is a progressive prosecutor?
Well, first, I want to address what Jesse said, that Kamala doesn't have to stab or might stab Joe in the back. She doesn't have to stab Joe in the back. All she has to do is scare him. And I don't know why we're all jumping to Kamala Harris, because Amy Klobuchar said a woman of color, all right? And you're all like overlooking Liz Warren, which makes no sense to me. I think what Amy did was really smart. She saw the writing on the wall. She knew that the decision was already made, so she wanted to act like it was her own idea. Somebody said to her, hey, I heard Biden's going to pick Kamala Harris. And then she goes, you know what? And she has a press conference and says, he should choose a woman of color. It's like when you find out that you're about to be fired, and right before they say, hey, you're fired, you say, no, I quit. You don't get the severance, but at least your pride's intact. And we all know that Joe is just a seat filler for the Academy, like the seat filler for this job. Whoever's getting picked is going to be the president if he wins.
Yeah, but you know, Dana, Klobuchar, just to put her away for now, I mean, Klobuchar was a prosecutor who refused to prosecute police brutality in Minneapolis, including the particular officer, Chauvin. So, I mean, she's got a lot of problems. But more importantly, with Val Demings, for example, I mean, there you have someone who has made a name for herself somewhat in the impeachment hearings, but she was a police chief. And how do you think that will rub Black Lives Matter?
It's interesting that you went to that, because that was exactly what I was thinking, because Jesse and Greg stole my two jokes, or actually I was going to steal theirs, but I guess I can't be in the running to be quarterback for the Broncos, because I was never in the running to be the quarterback for the Broncos. But part of the things that happened with Klobuchar is because of the focus of Minneapolis and George Floyd and her reign there in Minnesota, she was not going to be the vice presidential choice. So I agree. She definitely saw that coming, so she said, I'm just going to step graciously out of the way. But to your point, so Val Demings is a congresswoman from Orlando area of Florida. She was a police officer, law enforcement background. She was a police chief. One of the things that happened today is you had some New York state-based Black Lives Matter spokesperson say she is not going to be somebody that we would ever support because she did not do enough to deal with police brutality when she was a police officer. So I think that when it comes to the vice presidential choice, the number one thing for any presidential candidate choosing a vice president is do no harm. So when you have somebody like Val Demings, who most of the country doesn't know, it would take a lot of effort to introduce her to the nation. Somebody like Kamala Harris already has that name ID, so that can help you. And he also has to think about one of two things. Does he need somebody that he wants to work with as a partner if he were to become president? Or does he need someone that will help shore up the left wing of the Democratic Party? And does he think that person can do that? I think no matter who it is, when you see whatever that person's attributes are, that will be what he's more concerned about.
Well, and Juan, though all three, Kamala Harris and the police officer Val Demings, both of them, those two, I should say, have law enforcement background. Klobuchar did as well. But Elizabeth Warren, in terms of what Dana was saying, do no harm, she doesn't have a law enforcement background. She's got a strong, people know who she is. She's very much a progressive. She's very aggressive when it comes to fundraising. But she would be
all harm.
Is that what you think, Juan?
Well, I thought Dana said something. Dana, want to finish your thought?
Well, I think that Elizabeth Warren, there's no upside for Joe Biden. And when I say do no harm, she is all harm to him.
campaign with a huge rally tomorrow night in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's his first since the pandemic started. Supporters lining up all week, and his campaign says 1 million people have RSVP'd. The city's mayor declaring a civil emergency over fears of violent protests and rioting. President Trump responding with a stern warning to, quote, agitators, looters, and lowlives, saying illegal behavior will not be tolerated. Critics of the rally are, of course, out in full force, claiming the event poses a huge coronavirus risk. But the Trump campaign is taking precautions, and the governor of Oklahoma says the event will be safe.
We've got to learn to deal with this. We've got to learn to be safe, take precautions, but we've got to learn to also live our lives. And we feel like it's the right time to start reopening, and so we're excited about the president coming. And again, like they said before, there's been over 1 million requests for tickets, and so I think it just shows that America's ready to start getting back to normal.
Judge Jeanine, how dare these lowlives come into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and try to disrupt a peaceful rally?
Well, you know what's interesting about all of this is that, there's so much concern about COVID and how it's going to impact people. Look, the Trump campaign is going above and beyond what they need to do. They're taking temperatures, they're giving masks, they're giving people gloves. And Oklahoma, if you recall, was one of the first states to open after the pandemic. The only problem seems to be that the individuals coming in to make trouble. And the president has made it very clear what he intends to do. That they're not going to be treated the way that the protesters or rioters were treated in Minneapolis and in Seattle and in New York City. So I think the dichotomy is going to be clear on the resistance to this particular rally, but the rally is exactly what Donald Trump needs right now. It's where he gets his confidence. It's where the people feel his energy. And I think it's going to be a very positive thing, and hopefully it will be peaceful. His events are. It's just a question of what the outsiders want to do and the drama and trauma that they want to create.
Greg, so Oklahoma, they're in phase 3. That's the last phase. I mean, you can go eat at a restaurant. You can get a massage if you want to, Gutfeld. I mean, there's no restrictions on mass gatherings at all. So it looks like Oklahoma has things under control right now.
Well, personally, I like to get a meal and a massage at the same time. Saves a lot of time in my day. Anyway, it's interesting because, I mean, obviously we've been talking about how the media portrays these rallies versus protests. They weren't too concerned about what they were doing to protect themselves in the protests. And now with this, it's like everybody's evil. It speaks to the fact that never has a leader stirred such a panic and so much bile from the establishment media. And what it's telling you is that Trump is not a threat to you. He's not a threat to the people. He's a threat to establishment media. He's essentially the Hells Angels, the 1970s Oakland Raiders, the Magnificent Seven and Harry Callahan all wrapped into one. And he scares the media so much that they have to demonize him in every single way. Looking back when Trump said fake news is the enemy of the people, it might have been the most meaningful statement since tear down the wall. I know that's going to upset a lot of people. But the country is now seeing what he knew, that the media is manipulating us. And they're trying to manipulate us so that we hate each other. Because as long as we fight each other, if it's black versus white, male versus female, the media is able to stay in power. Because once we come together, they're out of business. So it's in their best interest to keep us at our throats.
That's a great point. Let's go to one of the members of the Hells Angels, Dana Perino. Dana, to Greg's point about the threat that President Trump poses, right? You mentioned the other day that, I think it was you, that the buildup to this rally has really been spectacular. What do you expect to see on Saturday night? Because I know you'll be watching our coverage on Fox News.
I never miss Saturday Night lineup. So, yeah, I think it was yesterday I said it was like the build-up to the Super Bowl. I think there's a lot of pent-up demand. Americans don't have any sports to watch. So they're ready for this, the great sporting event of America, which is our elections every 4 years, which actually never really end. The campaigns keep going. But I do think that even though the official start to the campaign was even a year ago, that it does feel like now, tomorrow night, you're going to have an event where they're familiar to us, and people enjoy watching them. Obviously, we know that. We know that people like to go to them. I thought it was interesting that the Biden campaign decided to do a counter-programming. So they said, okay, we'll see your rally with 1 million people requesting tickets and raise you a Zoom conference call. And the dichotomy there is going to be super stark across the board. Now, one of the things that's happening is that President Trump is not only energizing his voters, he's energizing voters who want to vote against him. So going forward, as we kick off this election season, I think in full, that's what I see tomorrow night as, we'll have to see how the Biden campaign can try to match this.
Yeah, that's interesting. Juan, what do you think about that? How does the Biden campaign see these rallies? Put the coronavirus stuff aside. I mean, how do they view this, the political opposition that holds these massive rallies and really get a lot of traction from?
I can't speak for the campaign. I can tell you how I see them, Jesse. I think they are, a lot like a rock concert or, a wrestling event or something come to town. I mean, I think that's why Brad Parscale picked Tulsa and that part of Oklahoma. The president wanted, I think, plus 36 or something. It's a red state, and so he should be able to get a lot of folks out. I don't think that it necessarily indicates much about the state of the campaign. The polls, Fox polls, has Biden up by 12. But my concern today is